Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes my opening performance. Now, without further ado, we may proceed to the trial of our god.
So this is what it is. Yes. Do not forget, however, that I am Fosalor, the god of justice, the embodiment of justice itself.
May I interpret these words as your refusal to stand? In that case, you will have the opportunity to defend your honor through a duel.
You would draw your blade against a god? I see. It seems like you have made up your...
Paimon can't believe it.
What the heck is going on? Did I just see an
Wow, how utterly humiliating.
Lady Farina, what is the meaning of this?
Shh! It would seem that there has been a misunderstanding. To be clear...
Looking for excuses again, huh?
I raised my hands just now to indicate my... I will admit that I've been running away for a long... I'm sorry, everyone. I was unable... You are not the only ones to be disappointed. But now, it is time for the Hydro Archon to show you her I, Farina, will use this trial to show the world the true... This time, I applaud and rejoice. One of the most outrageous and fantastical arcs known to the opera epic. Mark my words. This shall be one of the most exhilarating and brilliant shows ever to grace the stage of
Woohoo!
Oh, now we're... Why does it feel like Farina just took over the whole thing? Like, come on! Also, even though she's still acting...
All right, then. Who will be...
The court asks the prosecutor to please take the stand.
Is that so? Very well. Then please... Also, please allow me to ask, as a final question before the just how much work did you do to
Well, we did do a lot of prep after the meeting that day.
I can go over the tasks assigned to the Spina di Rosula, since they were rather straightforward.
Navia, the president...
Most of the people who participated in the disturbance this morning were my subordinates. They changed into plain clothes and came to the Opera House as regular audience members, waiting for the perfect... The people's resentment against their Archon has been building as more and more of the prophecy is fulfilled. Moreover, according to our understanding and analysis of you, So, we arranged for a second group to lie in wait there.
So, you mean... the ones who...
And their goal was to force you to step into the giant magic box so you may personally participate.
That's right. That house was a magic box.
As the super ultimate version of the setup that I used when I first performed at the volume of the box was increased by a whole order of magnitude, and the distance it traversed was the entire gap between Poisson was an Archon instead. My thanks, Farina. Without your help, we could never have pulled off such an
You're welcome?
Of course, this performance was only made possible with Father's support. The house, we had to select a location, construct...
So, in other words, the earthquake that we felt within the giant magic...
That's right. It wasn't a sign of another disaster to come.
Then, I can guess Nervilette and Cloran's parts. You gathered a crowd, prepared a stage, and made sure that the also that as soon as...
Yes, that is...
Well, Cloran, I must... As for you, traveler, Archon's derog... Thus did I give up all of my divine power to provide...
Isn't that a huge stretch?
Yeah, no matter how generous an Archon can be, how could they give up all their...
It seems like nobody's buying Farina's excuse.
Hey, come now, everyone. I'm still the same Farina you knew, right? The one that you loved. Please
If what the prosecutor said is true,
Did she deceive all of us? And all of our parents and grandparents too? And all of our aunts?
Enough! That's enough. Tell me then, if I'm not the real, if you have no evidence of another Hydro Archon's existence, nor can you.
Wow, she came up with yet another argument. Ugh. That doesn't sound right. It has been established that all Fontanians can
Since you insist on claiming to be a god and not a human, then there's a method that you can use right here and now to eliminate all—
Miss Navia, please apply to serve as a temporary attorney for the prosecution before addressing the court. Though you act in partnership with the prosecutor—
Super sorry, Monsieur Chief Justice. I swear this really will— Now, I've brought some seawater from Poisson. As everyone knows, a massive flood struck the— including those— So, Miss Farina, would you dare to touch some of— If we are to believe that you are indeed the real Hydro Archon, touching the seawater would have no effect. But if you don't dare to touch it, then we would have basically proved the reverse. Oh, and I must remind you that after the disaster at Poisson, nobody wants to see any more people dissolve. I do hope you'll act prudently and choose the simpler path.
Navia from the Spina di Rasula. The Spina has governed—
If Lady Farina is indeed just a human, she's probably Fontanian like all the rest of us.
Lady Farina, this test has been unilaterally proposed by the prosecution. As it falls outside the realm of
Well, of course he had to tell her that. But refusing to
she's just staring at the water without saying
What's going on? Is she real?
Due to the inherent risk of the test, Lady Farina, you may—
What?
Hey!
I'm fine! Look at me, will you believe me now? I really am your Archon! I'm nothing like a
Miss Siegewin, if you're—
Siegewin?
Don't be nervous. It'll just take a few seconds. That should be enough.
Please announce the results of your—
As everyone doubtlessly saw, Miss Farina was displaying symptoms of— She was experiencing the adverse effects of exposure to primordial seawater.
Thank you, Miss Siegewin. Lady Farina.
Oh, wait. What did she just say? I didn't get dissolved!
Well, considering your tendency to run from your problems, we did originally However, after extensive discussion, we exchanged it for a sample that is not concentrated enough to dissolve an actual human. We don't want anyone else to lose their life to the sea.
Yeah, so out of regard for Farina's life, you secured a low-concentration sample. It's a great thing that the direct sample wasn't actually—
I can't believe you— Listen to me, everyone! Please don't give me such— Think about it! How can you conclusively prove that Also, if I was really just a human, why would I dare to just put my hand in that kind of— Please, anyone, just listen to me! I swear, I really am your Archon!
I don't think anything she says at this point will sway anyone.
With all the things that have been said, Paimon doesn't—
I believe the time for arguments and presentation of evidence has come to an end. If there are no objections, we will move on to the final judgment.
I don't think anything she says at this point will sway me. She's too stacked against her now.
In my capacity as Chief Justice, I shall now render judgment on Farina's misrepresentation of herself as the Archon of Fontaine. As a human who knowingly deceived her fellow citizens, Farina is guilty. We shall now turn to the oratrice mécanique d'analyse cardinale to render. According to the judgment of the oratrice mécanique d'analyse cardinale, Farina is...
Well, what's wrong? What's the oratrice's verdict?
No, the oratrice also displays a guilt.
Isn't that correct then?
However, the exact wording of the verdict is thus: to be punished via the death sentence.
That's actually one of the available sentences?
The one and only time the death sentence has been handed out at the court.
Farina's been sentenced to death by the oratrice? We just wanted to use the trial to show her the seriousness of things.
This outcome is indeed quite strange. According to Fontaine's current definitions of justice, is this sentence really appropriate?
Yeah! Even Fauché wasn't sentenced to death by the oratrice. You know, the real evil mastermind behind the serial disappearances case.
Indeed. Not only is Farina's sentence overly excessive, but now the oratrice seems to have deliberately invoked the title of the Hydro-Arch.
Excuse me, if I may interrupt. Is the trial still going?
Fremine! Oh, you finally made it.
Mm-hmm. Any mission Father assigns to me.
Is that the first prophecy slip? Huh. So the knave privately...
I looked everywhere and finally found it at the bottom of the sea. It took me a long time to get around some deep... But has the trial already concluded? Then... doesn't that mean I've come too late?
Thank you for your hard work, Mr. Fremine. Please allow... Traveler, I believe that you have already seen the other existing slates.
Huh? So what do you see? What is...
I believe I have now made sense of the Hydro-Archon's crime. It has to do with Fontaine's lost...
Huh? Isn't the Hydro-Archon just guilty of deceiving her people? Oh, so when you say Hydro-Archon, do you mean the real Hydro-Archon?
In truth, everything that you've encountered in Fontaine up until this point can be traced back to the contents of these stones. However, I'm uncertain as to how much sense they currently make to you.
Okay, let's try to recall the content. The first stone, does that mean that the second stone slate, this must be the point when the third slate shows the... Well, the fourth slate is the prophecy. We didn't believe that such a...
We know from the case of the serial and the first stones, this might be the reason. Perhaps what is about to take place has all happened. The true sin of the Hydro-Archon that Nervilet and the original sin cast down. not as simple as when Navia fell into the sea. Her consciousness, the stone slates, show the people gathered around the prophecy from the fortress. If we hadn't dealt with it,
they'll dissolve into the primordial sea. The Hydro Archon was sentenced to death and Navia fell into the water. The eruption of the primordial... The prophecies can't... Huh? Oh, Paimon gets it now, but then it feels like... we're...
Let's hear them.
Incredible. Linny, did you hear that?
We're not...
All Fontanians were originally created by the late previous Hydro Archon. With the evidence for that can be found in how only Fontanians could dissolve in primordial seawater. And how all the girls Vache Oh, and according to Navia, when she was about to get dissolved, she also saw everyone gathered around for...
Indeed.
Yeah, and it follows from the content of the that could also explain...
The Hydro Archon's true sin was
And yet, after many hundreds of years, the Hydro Archon's creations have turned around to try to judge the Archon within the Opera Epiclese.
Yeah, isn't the image here just like... So wouldn't it be trying to show the image of the Hydro Archon in the end? Did Paimon get all that right?
You've made some keen deductions. I must say, given how much you still... However, while you were able to decode all the information on the slates, they've also been etched with an additional layer. When we were at the ruins, I tried to decipher the hidden... Now that the slate collection is complete...
What?
I believe I should share this truth not only with you, but with all the people of Fontaine as well. Your hypotheses regarding the origin of Fontanians in the Fontaine of old, the previous Hydro Archon sensed the yearning of her Oceanid familiars for life on land. The Oceanids were enamored with the beauty and romanticism of human beings, and wishing to have those experiences for themselves expressed to the... However, even though water as an element is intricately linked with the power of life, the Hydro Archon, as one of the seven, not one to give in, she eventually found a way to create permanent humanoid bodies for her familiars She poured primordial seawater into the Oceanids' blood vessels, creating humanoid mimics in the But if Fontanians were to ever come into direct contact with water from the primordial sea, the power within their bodies would escape these artificial restraints and return to the sea. Of course, the Hydro Archon never received permission from the heavenly principles to create a new human race, and thus, the Hydro Archon and all of her creations came to shoulder the original sin of appropriating the power of the primordial sea. That is the true history.
So you...
That's way too much information for me. I think I'm just going to pretend that I never heard a single thing. Wait, but if that's the truth, we can't let the Hydro Archon be sentenced to death. After all, her only sin was creating us.
This really might be too much information for your regular Fontanian, but it...
Alas, your hypothesis regarding the third and fourth stone slates was inaccurate. The slates' respective positions are, in fact, correct. A key point of the visual on the third slate is how all the individuals depicted in they have not been dissolved, which implies that the water depicted in this slate is not water from the nation of Fontaine is the nation of Hydro, as well as the nation of Trials and Justice. Instead of being the literal element, you may also recall Navia's experience. When she fell into the sea, her consciousness was surrounded by that of many others. Therefore, the meaning of the third slate is that the people of Fontaine shall try the Hydro Archon at the court of justice. Yes, it refers...
I think I'm following now. So, what you're saying is, in truth, everything we've done has happened exactly as the prophecy foretold. So now it seems...
What should we do?
Huh. No matter what, the prophecy will be fulfilled.
If that's the case, does that mean the scene in the fourth slate will also...
Traveler, I would like to point out another about the fourth slate. You probably thought that the eruption of primordial sea... However, I believe that rather than being a sure sign as for the root cause of the catastrophe, I believe you've already encountered it. This eruption was just a small...
It was both dream.
If we're talking about a true cult...
The truth, the original sin.
That was way too close! How did that thing just burst into the Opera House? Wait.
So we've met it at last. I understand very well why it is chosen. That whale does not belong to Tevat. It is a monster that has traversed the star. It has been greedily consuming the energy from the planet's primordial sea, using it to grow. That is the main cause for the rising sea level. And once it has finished consuming all of the energy contained within the sea,
You said that when the Hydro Archon first created Fontanians out of Oceanids, she filled...
Precisely. That whale finds the blood of Fontanians, not... Therefore, when it left the primordial sea, it decided to make its next stop a packed opera house full of food. Food in the...
We just barely managed to push it back, right? In that case, won't it come back to target the people again when...
That is correct. Indeed, it is more accurate to say that we should thank that Harbinger for buying us some time. Without him, the whale, from the way he looked, he must have been fighting the creature for quite a long time.
That battle maniac. We've always known that he had a special connection with that whale, but we... Anyway, now that we know that this whale is the actual cause of the...
It is too late. It had already absorbed too much of the primordial sea's energy before we could notice it. At this point, even if the entire...
That's... We've already done everything we can, and we even found the true culprit. We've come so far. You can't just tell me that the last hurdle...
Indeed. That's not how a grand performance should end.
I'll fight it to the end. No matter what.
So the prophecy will be fulfilled no matter what, huh?
The prophecy.
Just as prophecies are usually. Ultimately, fate shall serve.
What's happening with the oratories?
I believe it is preparing to carry out the death sentence.
Farina!
No, I still need answers.
You.
Sorry. That shocked expression on your face is just too amusing. I could.
You are not Farina. Who are...
Ah, the sweet sound of bewilderment. Marvelous. A sure sign that my attempt to
Focalors. Why did...
Oh, that wasn't my goal, of course. Goodness, no. The heavenly prince...
Deceiving the...
It's all because of that pernicious prophecy. Dreadful, wasn't it? Everyone doomed to dissolve. One was not amused. In fact, one was positively bemused. When that problem was thrust up, she knew full well that the prophecy would surely come to... And as one of the seven, she also knew full well that one defies the heaven... So yes, as you have no doubt surmised, it was a rather impossible... I spent a terribly long time mulling it over, alone on the ocean floor. And I was almost growing barnacles by the time I had to outwit the heavenly principles. Allow the prophecy... I'm a genius, I know. I can only assume that's why although, looking back now, it was hardly the inheritance one dreams of. Between the task of saving the nation, the quotidian duties of the... But one can only play the hand one is dealt. I did not choose this, any more than I...
So you were also once one of the Oceanids, transformed into a human by Egeria's hand.
Yes, I was. I always dreamed of becoming human. And I still do, even now. After becoming a god, I separated my divinity from my body and spirit, leaving behind only a self that was as naive and... The me you see before you now is that divinity. And the human counterpart I left behind, she could feel joy, sorrow, and everything in between. She could be as vain and conceited. Her strengths were of a kind only a human could possess, as were her... But in my eyes, Farina's humanity was what made her perfect. She was perfectly human. Anyway, so then I cursed her. All part of the plan, of course. The plan to deceive... Do you still remember the final scene of the prophecy? The Hydra Archon, in order that the prophecy might appear fulfilled, I invited Farina to be an actress, to play the part of the... Under the curse I placed on her, so long as I, Focalors' divinity, continued to exist, she could not die. But nor was she free to live her life. Instead, she was forced to take the stage in the opera house, to embrace the role of leading lady, to forever play the part of the god from the prophecy. I suppose now you probably understand why your court is called the Opera Epiclese.
But Farina is only human, isn't she? Even though she has had a long life, her mind is no stronger than that of any other ordinary human being. I cannot begin to fathom what she has had to endure.
It has indeed. And although she is, in a sense, me in human form, it's been 500 years. And all along, she's been playing her part in the most unimaginably long, unbearably lonely, and
Time to go.
Oh, who permitted you to come onto the stage? Now, I understand your admiration for my... All right. It is not my intent to reprimand you. There is no need to state your name. Just be off with you. Do not distract me from my performance. I am Focalor, the eyes of Count... Dear audience, the performance is experiencing a technical difficulty, but worry not. The guards shall resolve it soon. Higher, hands on fire! Huh? Hey, what gives? The audience is still watching me, you know. Guards? Wait, where are the guards?
Farina.
Huh? Who's that? Who's calling me? Where are you?
Be not nervous. Be not afraid. I am before you.
Wait a moment. You're... mirror me?
Mirror you, huh? You know what? That's not the—
Mirror me. What do you wish to say?
The prophecy.
What prophecy? Wait. I know. The people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only the Hydro Archon will remain.
Oh.
What's going on? I can't seem to remember.
Yes, it will. And that is why I've come to you. Disaster will come.
But doesn't that mean everyone will die? I'm a Fontanian, just...
Oh, don't worry. Magical meetings exist in this world. I will tell you how to save everyone, but...
Oh, so there's still hope. As for the suffering, well, I will admit that the first thing that but if the prophecy will come true, if there were scales, with all the people of Fontaine...
You truly are. I suppose this would also be the just...
Huh?
Don't worry, it's nothing. Listen well. Fontaine has just lost...
Play as...
That's right. You must begin a never-ending masquerade. If you can keep it up, then I shall have my way of defying this prophecy. But should your
But how will I do this? A human assuming the role of a god without being exposed.
Don't worry. What you must do is not to turn yourself into a real god. Being a human yourself, I'm sure you already know what. Remember, your true challenge will not be
I'm still not sure. So, how long am I going to have to...
To accomplish this mission, you will have to stay on the stage for many, many years. You will endure, but I promise you, all will eventually end in a magnificent and dramatic
trial. Huh. How exciting. The Maison Cardinalise has announced my accession, but this is my first time. What should I say to most appear like a god? Ladies and gentlemen, good evening, and welcome to the Opera Epiclese. I'm sure you've all heard about how I have taken on the role of In truth, I know little about becoming a nation's new god. As the god Focalor, the god of justice. Once again, thank you all. This should do it. I thought I might stammer, but thankfully, I was able.
That's the new Hydro Archon. Is this some kind of joke by the Maison? I would have thought that a being that surpasses humanity would be...
Hey, did you hear that? She even told us to send her suggestion.
Shouldn't gods be all-powerful? She's being so modest.
If you ask me, perhaps the succession didn't actually happen.
Wait, what's going on? What? Right. Mirmi said that I just need to play. Calm down, Farina. Think. What do the people want? Assertive, with a strong sense of presence. Oh, very good, my people. Only ones such as you. Now, I was wondering if some weak puppet were to one day come onto the stage and claim ownership. Well, it seems that you would all see right through them. Having passed my test, you are qualified to... You may consider my previous act a door gift of sorts. Now then, let us be...
So that was just a performance. How could I have forgotten that we were inside an...
Personality? It's quite shocking, to be honest, but I suppose it's a better look than before.
Such a fascinating and bold deity. How wonderful! Our future may yet be bright after all.
It seems I've turned them around. Best follow this flow and restart my My dear people, whether you acknowledge me or not, whether you trust me or nay, I say to you, we have heard it said that this nation's sins can no longer be washed away. The scales of justice, may law be the prayer on our lips. May judgment be our worship. There is no so long as
Yes! Oh, yeah!
Lady Farina, here are today's case reports as well.
Come now, was I not just at the Opera House in person? Leave these kinds of things to... Besides, none of these trials were the one that I'm...
If I may be so impertinent...
A magnificent, dramatic, and wondrous trial.
That's true, I fear I lack the...
No need for fright, and do not take what I said before too seriously. Go now, do your duties.
Lady Farina.
No need to thank me. Oh, I'm afraid that's just an inevitable All right. Deoteria, is it? How is your son's illness?
You remembered me, and you knew of my family, too. He is doing much better now. In fact, he is far more of an ardent believer than I. He was the one who... Oh, you're such a gentle and wise God. Thank you once again.
Lady Farina, here are the latest hydrological reports. As for the specific
I see. It's as I thought, then. As your god, I did already expect this, but I wanted to see how far your all manner of signs indicate that the prophecy will still come to pass. Forget it. That's...
Well, as I understand it, the Fontaine Research Institute is...
Really? Have they found...
I'm afraid that they haven't found any effective solution.
The day is finally over. But it's good to see that everything's getting on track. There are no long... Maybe this is fine. All right, Farina.
Lady Farina, here are the new trial reports for the latest cases, as well as...
There'll be no need for that.
Lady Farina, I've waited...
Indeed, my dear, loyal citizen.
Lady Farina, we're detecting significant hydrological anomalies near Poisson.
Understood. Keep monitoring. Keep me informed should anything come up. don't think I let anything. I just don't know when these days will end. I feel utterly exhausted.
Lady Farina, it's like a dream being able to. I've heard that the first. And what? Surely you.
What is it?
Are you crying?
This must be the overflow of hydro from my person. Well, can't quite help being the god.
No wonder. No wonder. A manifestation of your power that...
So interminable. Hundreds of years must have passed by now. Perhaps the show must go on. I never imagined. Have I reached my limit? No. Perhaps I want to tell someone, anyone, about this. But with that not, I've conducted so many investigations across the centuries. All I can do is keep heart. I must maintain this act.
Farina, you don't have to shoulder this burden alone. Although I don't know what you might be keeping from everyone. Your people...
Share that's impossible. It was fated right from the start that this would be my...
But even if your burden doesn't need to be shared, you just share it with me. I'm what you'd call a
witness. Yes, I've heard, and if Tevat is, in its entirety, a show on a stage, she's right. I could confide in her, couldn't I? But if things don't play out as expected, the people... No, Farina, you shouldn't be selfish. But what if... Farina, you've worked so hard for so... Is it such an outrageous thing to do anyway? If you let this up, think about it. Long and hard. No, I have nothing to say. I am Farina, the Ark. All you need to do, dear spectator, is to witness...
Fine.
So even Farina doesn't know the truth? You've never once let her in on the full plan?
Yes, it had to be done. To deceive the heavenly principles, she did very well. If she had let her resolve falter even once in these 5 centuries, Fontaine, it seems that trusting humanity...
I believe that I understand how your deception works, but that is only half the truth. Is it not? How would you build on this foundation to save the people of Fontaine? That is the most important.
Ah, good, good. Of course, the Iudex of Fontaine has. I'm sure you've long sensed that the oratory.
I've always suspected that it had its own consciousness. And Lenny did mention that he heard a human voice within. It now seems that that person was you, hidden within the machine all along.
And then I became one with the oratories, taking Fontaine's gnosis with me. Yes. Alas, your understanding of this device still, in truth, it is no enactor of justice. It is, in fact, a device created to kill. Oh, you have it. And to be more precise, not only will the I mean, did you think I would be the sort to enjoy my work over these last 500 years? Has been, but really, some have already discovered that only a small fraction of the energy generated by the vast majority had to be.
It was all a part of your plan then?
Indeed. This power accrued over 5 centuries, but only
So the oratrices call for the destruction of that divine throne.
returning what's rightfully yours to you. In other words, this was all done to return the authority of the Hydro Archon to the Hydro
But...
Oh, what? The authority of the ancient dragons shall soon be yours once more, O Hydro
all you've done throughout the years is just so you can sacrifice yourself at the very...
I've never quite seen it that way, you know. Even now, I'm quite pleased at how... Hydro Dragon, Hydro Dragon. I must say, had it been within my rights, I would have loved to judge the heavenly... Egeria stole the power of the primordial sea, and the heavenly principle stole the power you ancient I, for my part, am the god of justice. And is it not just that your original power... Speaking of justice, I have always believed that justice lies in the process of... So, if the theft of the primordial sea's might was Fontaine's original... Then, leaving matters of procedural right and wrong aside, the descent of the Fontainians as human, in other words, existence was Egeria's justice. And to me, just defying the prophecy and ensuring that Fontaine's people shall live on, that, at this point, we, whether it be myself or all other Iudex Neuvillette, the highest judge in our land, when you regain your full power...
So when I was invited to the court of Fontaine to serve as Iudex, I see now that that was your idea too. At last, I now understand the true purpose. In the beginning, I was uninterested in human existence. But these 5 centuries of living alongside them have gradually brought about mutual understanding between us. You are a devious one, things being as they are. Surely you know that I could never declare them to be...
The hour of my execution is almost here. For the sinner, the curtain call has come. I know I may not sound it, but faced with death, I find myself a little afraid. Perhaps this is one thing both gods and humans have in common. Farewell, Neuvillette. I hope you've enjoyed the part you played these 500 years.
Ex Nouvellette, hereby declare, people of Fontaine, your sins are forgiven.
What just happened?
Was that bright light some sort of misdirection? I have a feeling that something huge just happened.
But since we're all still alive and haven't been dissolved...
It's time to end this. We must mete out punishment to that...
Didn't you say just a moment ago that it can't be defeated?
I have gained the strength sufficient to deal with it. Through certain means, I now have the ability to separate the power of the Primordial Sea from that creature. We should seize the opportunity to pursue our quarry. Traveler, now that the oratories can no longer function, I require an executor to help the root of the calamities befalling Fontaine, the beast that enacts the prophecy. Its name is the... Come with me, traveler. Considering the size of the beast, I cannot reach the power source. Unless we can find a way to attack it from within. I shall share a part of its power. We shall return the way together.
Gotcha.
I can feel its sorrow turning into hostility. The all-devouring narwhal cannot resist its instinct to devour. Continue to trigger its hostility. Chance will present itself.
Time to act. Seize the moment and use my power to suppress its root from within.
Time to go!
Thanks for helping with the cleanup. It should have been my job. It was just supposed to be a short private training session for me. I didn't think that my disciple and my master's pet would start Well, actually, I had a feeling that it would happen at some point. But they bumped into one another earlier than I thought. What a
That power.
Paimon has an idea. From what she said earlier, she must be Child's master. Skirk, right? It's just that he gave us the impression that she was the less talkative person.
I simply did not have anything to say to the weak. But you, on the other hand, so you may speak to me as equals. I have to agree. It's a strange use of a planet's primordial waters just to raise an all-devouring narwhal. That kind of power is wasted on it. It's not cooperative. It eats too much. And I have more important things to do with my time than pet sitting. The only thing that creature has going for it is its looks. All in all, it fails as a pet.
Miss Skirk? I think you might...
The point be...
Well, being that this pet almost destroyed an entire nation, so what sort of person is your master? Well, Child's master's master.
Oh, right. So you don't know him. Sorry, I assumed you did. His name is Sir Taloji.
Huh?
I am unfamiliar with that name.
Huh. So Master isn't sufficiently famous. How should I describe him then?
The Foul?
Still nothing? Well, how about the...
Ooh, that one we've heard! Rhine part of the Hexens are...
Oh, so you do know that name. To be honest, I also heard all of those names and titles from my master. I don't actually know them either, but I suppose you understand now, yes? My master is likely a similar sort to Rhine. They are both pursuing some form of perfection.
Wait! Didn't you also mention a visionary person? Paimon didn't...
Actually, never mind that. I believe it expedient to inform you that the all-devouring narwhal used up nearly all its strength fighting you. Such roiling hydro energies will prove difficult for the planet's deep seas to digest. As such, the fontaine back on the surface has most likely been thrown into chaos. In other words, the prophecy that you've been fretting over should now be in...
What?
Not to worry. Focalor has already managed to deceive.
In the end, the people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only Farina will remain, weeping on her throne. Only then will the sins of the people of Fontaine be washed away.
All hands, initiate emergency rescue! Hurry!
Hey, lend a hand!
water's receding!
It's a miracle!
Water's receding.
We didn't dissolve. The prophecy was wrong. The prophecy was wrong!
We're saved. The prophecy was wrong.
Oh, it's you.
Hey, we're just having a look.
I'm here to update myself on how things are going.
Let me introduce you. This is Mr. Garunt Snezhevich. He represented the Knave, and our residents are hard at work as well. Thanks to everyone.
Hello, Miss Charlotte. I'm a big fan of yours. I especially like that article you wrote last year about fun. But if you don't mind, could you not emphasize our role too much in your report? It's not charity we're doing here. We just happen to share the same interests as the Spina.
I get where you're coming from. I'll keep...
That would be fine. Thanks.
Oh, you're back too. How are things?
We finished laying down the construction materials.
Huh?
Well, her reputation's greatly risen after that whole...
There's too much to consider in the reconstruction of Poisson. The Spina has need of more decision-makers.
Oh, wait, just a moment. Do you mind me asking a few questions? You know, about how you felt before the duel. About what it was like facing down a god.
Forget it.
I see.
Well, if we're talking about doing things for my sake...
Of course I will. I'm not gonna let her off that easy. All right, then everyone who wants to be in the photo, gather up.
How did it go? Was it a good shot?
Not bad. Your addition really helped the composition of the picture. All right, hang on a moment. Let me snap a few more shots. All right, that should do it. I'll be back here later anyway, so let's call it a day.
You're very quick.
Speed is of the essence when it comes to the news, and freshness is the key. Also,
wow.
I'll hazard a guess that this is how you got that interview at the Fortress of Meripede.
Whoa,
That's a...
In truth, I told him that it was best not to speak too soon.
You're right. I've got a trick.
Stay safe now, and...
Wow, guess we're here again, huh? There's a real nostalgia.
Looks like you've been missing us.
Dude! Did you come all the way?
Of course. I'm here to welcome you and our dear Miss Charlotte.
It's an honor to finally meet the much-rumored Duke.
No need to thank me. But that said, I shouldn't be the focus of your interview. I trust you.
Of course, of course.
All right then, this way.
Hey, no need to, Miss Charlotte.
It would seem that Miss Lorvine doesn't want her face to appear beside that of Mr. Jurier, hmm?
Sir, please don't...
But it looks like dear Mr. Jurier denies it. Might this interview be very important?
No, I just... This is my first time being
Now, I might not look it, but I actually... The boat that brought it... Still, if I'm not...
I have to apologize, but that ship is present.
Really?
You already know my answer, I'm afraid. Best you interview our head nurse instead. Or perhaps you'd like to take another...
Did you really have to use the word couple? Well, then, 2 solo photos will do.
Is my hair messed up? Please, someone help me have a look.
Things sure are getting pretty lively here. Oh, seems like everyone's here. Would any of you like to...
Hey, Miss Charlotte. Why don't you, sure. Come on, Miss Siegewayne. Over this way. Let's find a...
sure. Do I have to smile? So, how have things been at...
Same old, as you...
Other than that flying ship.
That's why I decided to let...
You're too kind, sir. I believe that you too should have your...
I see.
He sure did...
I'll tell them that the...
Oh!
What change can there be? The fortress will... As to what Miss Farina's departure will mean for the nation, and if our laws and governance will be transformed, we'll leave those to the folks in the overworld.
Hey, everyone. The photo shoot's done.
Good. In that case, let's call it a...
Thanks for your cooperation. Come on, Traveler, let's go.
There'll be an...
Maybe. All right. Last stop, the... Navia mentioned that she stayed in touch.
Traveler, Paimon. Ah, and Miss Charlotte.
Would you like a magic pocket?
What sort of gadget is it?
It's a wondrous bag that can be used to carry many things. The water level has returned to normal, but if you see any of your things floating around, you can use this to carry them. Or you could trick a
friend.
You could just make a friend like Fremine here. Isn't that right, Fremine?
Is this what you meant by, I'll help you make...
To be honest, that sounds pretty sweet. Could I have your contact, please?
Sure.
You sure are working hard to help Fremine social...
He was the one who proposed doing this. He even wants to assist in our magic shows.
Yes, I was planning to first introduce...
That said, would anyone want to see a diver escape underwater?
Oh, it'll work out.
Lynette, could you come over? Miss...
Got it.
My, that Charlotte is rather perceptive. She got rid of everyone the moment she realized I had something to say to you. Father says that...
that's a...
Oh, I guess after Lady Farina...
A diplomatic gift? A gnosis?
Yes, I was quite surprised at first myself. But when I thought it over, it could have been done as an apology for the incident with Lord Child, or as thanks for his help in tying the all-devouring narwhal. Furthermore, Father did also lend significant aid to Fontaine and Poisson.
Well, that's true, but this is a gnosis we're talking about. Doesn't this seem a bit... irresponsible?
I would agree, but I've also heard that it seems...
So there's some...
I suspect you'll have to...
but that...
They say that he's returned to Snezhnaya to recover from his wounds. I hear that the recent disaster really did a number on his health.
That's true. When you think about it, we've had loads of...
So shocked by such a simple switching of sides?
Father!
Well, what do you know? Come to the docks to see how my children are doing and meet the Traveler by chance. Please do not pay my...
Are you going to take the gnosis?
That is our duty as harbingers. Don't be too preoccupied with sides. The goal of the Fatui concerns not a single place or person, but the entire world. With such a grand goal in mind, it is inevitable that we must. Switching my masks is something I've always done. Well, that depends on many things. No one truly knows what the future holds, what good is on. As for you, I very much look forward to our next collaboration. Good things cannot be achieved alone, and you've proved yourselves to be great partners. A vision? All right. I'll remember to return.
And that's a wrap for me. Huh?
Greetings, Miss Journalist.
Hello. If I'm not mistaken, there are diplomatic channels I'll need to report to today.
That is correct. So forgive me, but I will not be able to serve as a subject in your article. However, feel free to write as much as you'd like about our dear magicians, and
I will.
The sea breeze is quite pleasant.
Farewell, Father.
Oh, she has such an intimidating presence. I didn't even dare to take a picture. Thankfully, I've already wrapped up all my pre-scheduled.
Don't be too nervous. Why don't you take a magic pocket before you go? Here, traveler, Paimon.
To move things about?
That's right. Funny. I was giving out magic pockets when we first met, too. And what do you know? I'm doing the exact same thing right now. I guess this must be life. All right, then. We'll be handing out pockets in some other districts later, so we'll get going now.
Well, guess we sent Charlotte, huh? Shall we go see what Nicolette's doing? You really are here, Nicolette. I didn't think you were going to have free time this hour of the day.
Really? Oh, I suppose you must have met Mr. Linney. He took the time to... In any case, you came at a good time. I was just considering reaching out to you to set up a meeting, so I may explain some things that I haven't had the time...
Aw, Paimon's glad that you remembered. Thank you for keeping us on your mind, what with you being busy and all. All right, let's have it then. How was Fontaine actually saved? The whole business...
It is strange how words can often...
Whoa. Focalor destroyed the divine throne of the Hydro Archon and restored your power to you, transforming you into a fully fledged... But Paimon still doesn't quite get what you did to save the Fontanians from dissolving.
For me, the authority of the ancient dragons refers to absolute control. Fontanians were incomplete humans born of Egeria's use of the power of the primordial sea, with constitutions similar to that of Mimic. But so long as those primordial energies remain within them, I could use the ancient dragon's authority to... In other words, when I gave my verdict, Fontanians became true humans, and thus would naturally no longer...
Focalor must have counted on you to make that decision as well. Your verdict was the key to making the prophecy appear to have come... Yeah, and in a manner of speaking, Focalor finally made...
It seems from your expressions that you still have more things you wish to ask. Ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it. I have investigated his case along many avenues, and I have learned that he once fell into an unknown chasm when he was young. There by chance. But whether it be by sentiment or reason, that should not have been enough to consider him the root cause of the disaster. At most, he would have had tangential liability. As for the judgment passed by the Oratrice, whether it was due to that liability by association, or Focalor deliberately using him to buy time for us on the assumption that he would be able to...
Guess Focalor had Fontanians in mind the whole time. In the end, it was thanks to her that they finally became real... hang on a second. Back when Fontanians hadn't yet become real humans, were the children they had also transformed?
Life has always flowed like water. Do you recall how Fontanians would often come to the Fountain of Lucine to pray for children?
Yeah, Lynette said the fountain is where all the waters in Fontaine...
In truth, even those couples did not know that such prayers were no mere custom, but instead a form of ritual. Those Oceanids who were blessed within the spring water would later descend as new humans in the coming months.
Paimon sorta gets it now. Either way, it seems like this ritual won't be of any further use, but it'll probably live on as a local custom.
Ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it.
Hang on a sec. Paimon still got it. When we spoke to Linny earlier, we guessed that there
No wonder the House of the Hearth is the Fatui's intelligence division. They are. So regarding this specific issue, I was just getting ready to share something with you. In truth, I exchanged some further words with that lady named Skirk after sending you two back to the surface. It went something like this.
Well, we're going to head topside to see what's going on. You hurry over soon as well.
What next?
The all-devouring narwhal isn't here. I can finally catch the scent of your power. It is the authority of the planet's primordial dragons, but with something very similar to a god's curse mixed in. I'm sure I've encountered something like this before.
I do not know what you speak of.
Of course. How could I forget? You should have the remains of the third descender on your person, yeah?
Remains? I've never heard of any such thing.
According to your parlance, I believe it may be called a...
Well, that much is true. After Focalor's divinity faded, she handed her gnosis to me, but I fear I have never heard of it described in the manner that you just did.
I've been training with my master, the Fowl, ever since I was young, and I have never returned to the surface since. So most of the information I possess, I got from him. It is only natural for those who are greater than humanity to possess a different sort of common sense, which is why there are so... Regardless, you should probably get rid of objects of misfortune to prevent any disaster. To live in itself is a blessing. But once a person dies, the bonds he once had with this world shall all turn to curses.
What do you mean by that?
No need to fret. These are just my... personal thoughts.
This third descender you refer to, who are they?
Master never mentioned them to me. Perhaps it just wasn't that important for me. If you're interested, though, I could ask him. I'll be sure to pass...
Next time? You believe we will meet again?
I do. Wait. I have a disciple of my own, don't I? He can be...
That's what she told me.
The remains of the third, so that's what the Gnosis actually are. Paimon just thought they looked like chess pieces.
All the same, assuming that there was no misunderstanding or special metaphor at play, that it...
And she said that it would bring misfortune and that you should check it, which is...
If she speaks the truth, then I would simply be putting Fontaine at unnecessary risk by keeping it here. I guess that you might already be familiar. That means that the note... I wonder. Does your body also...
Like being able to use elemental powers without a vision. No, let's not think about this stuff right now. It's just comparing the Traveler to the dead third descender and all. That's what you say, but this topic's... Once child recovers, let's...
I too believe it unwise to make too many blind guesses when information is lacking. The same is true of being at court.
All right.
Yes. All of Focalor's efforts were for this moment as well.
But...
I I suppose that would be the mystery of a god's will. I suspect not. But once in a while, I too would guess that if wishes were like the clouds, life flows like... And what ultimate...